أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. Respected professors, associate professors, assistant professors, IIMU fellows, participants from different countries, IIUM students, and our honorable speaker, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us the International Institute for Muslim Unity an opportunity to organize various programs related to the issues facing the Muslim Ummah. The Institute has been organizing several programs. One such program is this, which is called IIMU Muslim Unity Lecture Series. We also organize Muslim Minority Series, Muslim Book Review Series, and so on. We have also recently planned and advertised in our website to offer a certificate program which is related to empowering Muslim leaders as professionals. We will have 3 certificate programs, and each certificate program will last for 1 month. We have already advertised and uploaded the information in our various WhatsApp groups as well as website, and those who are really interested to join the certificate program, they are most welcome to really register online so that we will decide a date and then start our certificate number 1 as soon as possible. Today's topic is very unique, and it will be delivered by Associate Professor Dr. Zul Jastri Abdul Razak. And the topic of today's lecture is Islamic Green and Circular Economy from Tawhidic Epistemological Perspective for Ummatic Excellence. As you can see the title, it has 3 dimensions. Number 1, it will focus on Islamic green and circular economy. Definitely, it will not be only from a conventional or circular perspective, but it will be from the Tawhidic epistemological perspective that the IIUM is committed to nowadays. Of course, we in the Muslim Unity Institute are very much concerned about Ummatic excellence. We are very much concerned about not only the unity of the Ummah, not only about the leadership qualities of the Ummah, we are also concerned about the eventual Ummatic excellence. So this topic is very relevant because it is going to talk about how the Islamic green has to be understood, how it contributes to economic development, how it can be approached from a Tawhidic epistemological perspective, also for the purpose of Ummatic excellence. With this brief note, let me introduce our respected speaker of today, who is none other than Associate Professor Dr. Zul Jastri Abdul Razak. He is currently a research fellow in Institute of Halal Research and Training, International Islamic University, Malaysia. He began his academic career as a lecturer in Department of Business Administration, subsequently assigned to Department of Finance. He was since engaged in several research and consultancy projects with the industry, one which amounting to Ringgit Malaysia 70,000 with a local bank on customers' perception on gratuity financing scheme. He has completed leading a research grant on the study of abandoned housing project amounting to RM 78,000 under FRGS 2013 to 2017. To date, he has published more than 20 articles in refereed and indexed journals. He has also won several awards for his submissions in the university research and exhibition projects. In addition, Professor has examined several PhD theses and has supervised numerous postgraduate students in the IIUM. He taught courses like bank management, Islamic wealth management, marketing of financial services, Islamic financing management and sustainable development, and so on. He was also involved in training programs on Islamic finance, local as well as overseas. In addition, he has also co-authored a book on Islamic wealth management. Dr. Zul is currently a research fellow, as I said, at the Institute of Halal Research and Training of the International Islamic University, Malaysia. He has also a book chapter on SDG 18, which focuses on spirituality, values, and culture for humanizing sustainable development, a future worldview published by IIUM. This is a brief information that I can provide today. Of course, she has a long CV, which can be reached through our network, inshallah. With this brief introduction, may I respectfully call upon Associate Professor Dr. Zul to deliver his speech on Islamic green and circular economy from Tawhidic epistemological perspective for Ummatic excellence. فليتفضل يا أستاذ.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Madam,
Is it okay? Because when you cannot read if it is the case. How to do that?
you can.
Okay, now it's okay. They can see it. Okay.
No. Please start. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullah. Thank you, respected Professor Dr. Tamil Shama. Actually, I'm delivering IIMU because he invited me to come here. Actually, the story of this is quite some time ago, about 5-6 months, bro. We were trying to do something, and the topic actually is also not this one. Okay, it's Islamic green and circular economy, which I have presented. But of late, since our respected Dr. Osman Bakar has introduced the Tawhidic, and Prof said, why not you adjust it? So I gladly do it. But I'm still quite amateur, if you don't mind, on this Tawhidic issue. But we will discuss, inshallah. Okay. And once again, thank you very much for your attendance. So as usual, this is my presentation. We'll begin with the definition of green economy and Tawhidic epistemology. Then we go to the concept of sustainable development, which is very important in Islam. Okay. Then we'll discuss sustainability and circular economy. And then only we come with that issue of ummatic excellence. And before that, we have to have wisdom. Yeah, wisdom is hikmah, which I've just learned this word so actually. Yeah, and then we conclude. All right. In anything, when you want to profess an idea, people will ask definition. How you define? Okay. So this is actually my own research, and what I found out, I will substantiate with other researchers. What I found out, green economy is the one that aims at reducing environmental risks, okay, such as climate change, pollution, green gas, carbon dioxide. that have caused global warming. And global warming is a very big issue. All right. In Antarctica, the glaciers has melted, and now they have problem with flooding. Okay, even in Bhutan recently, people have been shifting out because there's flooded of water. All right, and we don't only talk about human, we talk about ecology as well, biodiversity. Okay, we talk about plants, surroundings, so on and so forth. So let's have a quick check of other definition. One we take from the United Nations UNEP program, and he says that a green economy is one that results in improved human well-being and social equity, while significantly reducing environmental risks and ecological scarcities. It is a low carbon, resource efficient, and social inclusive. We take another one from the World Bank. And the green economy is an economy that seeks to improve human well-being and build society reducing environmental risks. So as we discuss and more, we get into some find if we do a qualitative study, certain things are repeated. Number one, we talk about environmental risks. Then we talk about carbon. We talk about flooding. We talk about sustainable development. All right. So this has been repeated. It's not me who is repeat. It is the literature that is repeating. It's the narrative that is repeating. Okay. So in other words, a balanced environment is maintained through continuous operation of various natural cycles. What do you mean by natural cycles? It's the one that we face and do everything. We take evolution with water cycle. All right. We're about carbon. Now carbon become an issue, but before, fossils have been carbon. We still have fossil car on the road. Oxygen cycle, we have to breathe. And you have pollution, you have problem with breathing. Nitrogen cycle. And the food supply chain, which is actually a marketing arm. All right. In halal, which I'm now, it's important to have halal food supply chain. All right. But the problem is, if humans come and interfere with external factors, such as fossil car, overheating, open burning, green gases, then you have issue of pollution, issue of waste, issue of oil slick, issue of deforestation, which destroy the balance of the system and affect living things, resulting in global warming, has hit us now, destruction, water poisoning, extinction of animals, and biodiversity. Whose responsibility is that? Isn't that human issue? Isn't that the warning that Allah SWT to say that we as a Khalifah to supposed to take care about this? So there mana ada I will share with you Quranic verses and hadith and so forth. So when you have this problem, you have to manage, all right? How do you manage the resources? How do you go for clean energy? How do you prevent water wastage? How do you recycle? How do you maintain sustainability food security? So this is a big issue that we are facing. And you can see has a picture there. There's only 4 pictures. I have a video, but I don't have time to show. You have people on the right-hand side is money, US dollars, inflation, right? Selling money for money. And you have here on the right side, this fish being exploited, being poisoned. And I'm sure you've seen turtles being entangled in the fishing net. And you see disparity on the left-hand side and the right side, where there are poor, extreme poor, and extreme rich. So there's a lot of disparity and imbalances that we are facing today. So much so that it results in this issue. Every day we have this problem. Forests being burned. We just had the Putra Heights incident. All right. Fire in California. Fire. All right. And we have a lot of carbon cycle, carbon dioxide, leading in people having health problem, some death. All right. In Makkah, when people perform their Hajj, it's overheating. Okay. Then we talk about many issues with regard to uncontrolled environment and not being sustainable. All right. So the second definition, which of course ties up also with the topic, is Tawhidic epistemology. What is TE? TE basically is a reference to knowledge, which is derived from the oneness of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. It is a framework that integrates religious, philosophical, and scientific knowledge into a holistic system where they all respect and life are aligned to divine. All right. And of course, Tawhidic epistemology comes from the word Tawhid, Allah, one. Okay. And Tawhid literally means the oneness of Allah. And there is the fundamentals of not only to serve the cornerstone of integrated framework for comprehending knowledge and excellence, but also to ensure that it describes the relationship of Allah SWT. So my approach here would be that approach by our rector, okay, which is Dato' Osman Bakar, who has said that you must have a Tawhidic epistemology, then only then you have a Tawhidic mind. Okay? After a Tawhidic mind, only you have an Ummatic mind. After Ummatic mind, only you achieve Ummatic excellence. Respect the Prof. Okay, I'm following his model. But definitely, when you talk about the first knowledge, the derivative of the first knowledge is from divine. And there's so many ayat Quran that I can share with you. I only touched the first one, divine. They can be morality, they can be humanist at this short of time. From divine, the first one I quote is Al-Mulk 67:15. It is he who made the earth manageable for you, travel its region, eat his provision, and to him you will be restricted. So Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala already said that the earth belongs to us. Everybody has a share in this earth. But what have you seen just now? How many fish has been poisoned? All right. How many forests has been burned? Are we not conscious about all this? Isn't it from Ayat Quran? Isn't it from aesthetic epistemology? And the Muslims are engaged in planting, cultivating, manufacturing pursuits, all the issues here with regard to worshipping of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. This we have to realize. Our daily activity reflects our morality and our behavior. All right. Second ayat Quran, An-Nisa 4:15. Divine. You who believe, do not wrongly consume each other's wealth, but trade by mutual consent. Okay, I'm from finance. Some people are from finance too. This is very important ayat to say that Allah has permitted trade and forbidden riba. Okay, this is another sustainability issue. And we ask ourselves, is our Islamic banking today sustainable or not? Okay, this is the thing that we're going to ask and argue. Muslims are not allowed to take each other's wealth unjustly, but only lawful. The implication of justice and fairness is in this ayah. Al-An'am 6:141. This is related to sustainability. I already shared it in the green group. This time I have opportunity to talk to you. All right. But waste not by excess of Allah, do not waste. Allah does not like food to be wasted. Okay. So we had recently iftar and so on and so forth. You can see how much waste is there in food. And the last one, you should limited of time. In the end, I will help you to also see more ayah. Divine. Eat of what is on earth lawful and good. Al-Baqarah 2:168. This is a fundamental ayat for halal. Halal al-Tawhiban. Okay. Verses implies humanity is expected to eat, use, and act not only permissible, but also it has to be done on good, pure, and wholesome. And let me tell you, this is the fundamentals of ESG. All right. Why I've been asking what is ESG? It's so difficult to talk. I had the opportunity. I'm so happy that I can address quite a lot of people. If you're in a WhatsApp group, you can't do. People don't understand. This is ESG. All right. This is ESG from the ayat Quran. Good, pure, and wholesome. Halal and Tawhiban. So that is why I have always been emphasizing and promoting ESG. Because ESG actually derived from the Quranic verses. And you can see, there's so many of that. Al-Aqraf 7:31. eat and drink, but not waste by excessive. And he, Allah, love those who do not do waste. Okay, Craft 756, and do not cause corruption in this earth when it has been in order. So, brothers and sisters, let's go back to the ayat Quran. Let's go back to the hadith to set our own Islamic economy. All right, we can look at conventional, no problem. But at the end of the day, who is the one that giving us a justice? Isn't it from the ayat Quran and the hadith? And the Prophet itself do not waste water. When he take ablution, he's very thrifty on water. Now, who are we if Prophet behave that way? And so many issues here. I will share this slide later. I think there's also a YouTube going on. Water pollution. Allah has maintained, Prophet has maintained. I say that no one should bathe in still water when he is unclean. All right. So this is now having that fundamentals. Only we can see ESG in a proper perspective, not from the conventional perspective, from the Islamic perspective. All right. So what is lacking now? And I invite all the scholars to do more research from ESG from the Maqasid perspective, from the verses of Ayat Quran. Okay, from the verses of Hadith, from Ijma. We can have a WhatsApp group. We can do more. We can have forum. All right, we can have discussion. So environment ESG is basically what the Ayat Quran has said. A viable natural environment, a social nurturing community, an economic with efficient and balance. All right. So is our economic balance or not? No. This is a question I want to ask. Okay. So the famous code of sustainability, which is a UN one, is the one done by Brundtland Report, 1987. We say that sustainable development is the one that meets the need of the present without compromising ability of the future generation. Okay, that's a general. So what are its features? Number one, living within certain limits of the earth, capacity to maintain life, understanding the interconnection amongst economic, security, and society and environment, ESG, and maintain a distribution of resource and opportunity for generation. But I would like the one to take definition of stability from the Ayat Quran, which is Surah Ar-Rahman 555-7. And what does it say? Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wasama rafa'a wa adal mizan. Okay. And the heaven he raised and imposed the balance. So the issue of balance here must be seen from the Islamic perspective. Why? Because it's the form Ayat Quran. Okay, it's not hearsay. It's not definition by human. It's from the Ayat Quran. This is why what our rector has said, that we must study Tawhidic Epistemology, which is step 2. Question is now, you have to transfer the epistemology knowledge to the Tawhidic mind. Okay, so meaning, how does it affect the principles? How does it affect ESG, quote unquote, in that context? So as you can see there, you just forget about the ESG first. You see the one blue on the right. Affordable and clean energy. This is what our Prophet has said. Decent work, economic growth, no riba in the business, fairness. Okay, responsible consumption, not to have waste. I quoted Quran just now. Clean water, no pollution, which is against the principle of Islam. And life on land is to be fair. Not to shoot animal, go inside the forest, cut the tusk of the elephant, cut everything, cut there, and say that you are so-called following Islamic principles. What is this? Okay. If it's not enough, I'll give you some more. Maqasid Sharia. This is the principles of Maqasid Sharia. Okay. That we have to observe, which is also derivative of Ayat Quran. From the verse Al-Anbiya. But a mercy to the whole universe. And we are Islamic and we are promoting Rahmatan lil Alamin. How close are we following this principle of religion? Okay, and Quran and Sunnah, how much do you refer in our daily work and in education and in life? You can see how the turtles and the fish and whatever being poisoned as well. Okay, and I'm sure some of you have experienced that our dam being closed because of the water being polluted. Now, who is having the problem? Isn't it life? Isn't it intellect? How much brain have you used to make sure that this thing is not being unsustainable? Okay, how much discussion? How much is do we look at our curriculum? How relevant is our curriculum now towards sustainability and posterity? Posterity is a future generation. All right, our cucu cicit, our son, grandson, great grandson. Do you want to see them to suffer of this unsustainability issue? What is our role here actually? And wealth. Do you want the riba system to be upheld? So this are among the issue when our prophet, our writer said, use Tawhidic mind from Tawhidic epistemology. And I have evidence to show you. Look, environmental issues is everywhere. It is unsustainable. People are throwing all this polystyrene. Of course, they have to throw because the polystyrene is not allowed in the first place. In the river, you can see, I don't know, one man doing that, I don't know what, taking the polystyrene or what. So in the river, it's polluted, brother and sister. You can see on the right hand, on the left hand side, polluted water. And who drink that water? The fish drink the water. The fish got died because of poisoning. And it comes to us as well. You see how I'm trying to tie up the Quran from the Tawhidic mind? And look at the one just below the worst. A lot of waste. All right? Dewi nak kenduri kendara, our big festive. And what are we doing on this? Are we not guilty conscious about all this? As a human being? And this is where the SDG come, SDG 12. But to me, the SDG is not really very important, You can put 1, 2, 3, 17. We are also having SDG 18 now. I joined right with respected Prof. Swami. He's in the group. I think I saw him. We wrote this book, all right, to profess and to sort of champion issue of self-belief from the Islamic perspective. But what can you see there? A lot of waste, 3,000 tons being wasted, you see? And a lot of issues of solar and on and so forth. It's just to be like, well, just looking to it. I don't mind showing this book. I suggest you buy this book, edited by Prof. Kamal Hassan. There are three jilid of this book. You can get it at Istek, right? So this has been my guidance, our respected Prophet Tan Sri, right? So we have this, keep on, what do you call that, doing, and definitely we have unsustainable issues. 40% of the global economy in desperation. You have biological death. We talk about haze. We talk so on and so forth. Water being soil pollution. Are we not conscious, brother and sister? Okay. And I have a waste report. Waste report Malaysia 2014-2015 which shows the highest volume of waste disposed is by the landfills. Landfill basically is just burning, open space burning. When you have open space burning, you have problem. Remember at one time with Indonesia? Haze problem. People get sick when they inhale all this haze stuff, right? And Malaysia spent how much? US 5.2 billion to what do you call that? To clear the solid waste. In Japan, there's no waste. All right, there's a town in Japan, I forgot about it. There's no waste at all. All Japanese factories are doing recycling. Okay, they forgot about waste long ago. Now Malaysia is still having this problem. Why? Why are our economists, what our scientists doing? Are they not conscious about recycling? Isn't this from the word from the words of Quran? All right. We have issue. Water causing flooding, pollution, food, okay? Supply chain disrupted. Of course, in COVID is a good example. Food are disrupted. We have temperatures, heat, and death, of course. Drought, the problem of too extreme, high temperature and drought of come to it, and also have flooding. All right, flooding is a result of climate. Malaysia is a signatory of the Paris Agreement to maintain temperature to 1 to 2 degrees centigrade. All right, and by 2030, which is 5 years down the road, how much have we done this? Are we conscious about this or not? All right, and is this has affected our health? Okay, so now, as Prof. Dr. Osman has said, once we have the Tawhidic mind, then we transform the Tawhidic mind to step 3, which is called the Ummatic mind, right? So the Ummatic mind now is the practical aspect of it. Okay, it is what you call the consciousness, is the practical what you call that how you put that into action. And it's clear in Ayat Quran Al-Baqarah 2. I mentioned just now. Indeed, I will make upon you the earth a successive authority. In other words, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sort of appointed as steward in this world to see that everything is done fairly. And man has appointed as the Khalifa of the earth. Okay? And this is where we derive the sound from the Ummatic mind. We have not moved to Ummatic excellence yet. But here in itself, already many issues that we should be considering. Are we following the Ayat Quran? Are we following the practice of Prophet Muhammad? Are we following the practice of his companion? Okay. So transforming knowledge into wisdom is hikmah. All right. We have many knowledges from the Quran. Of course, these are good. But we also study in school. We hear too. We also sit in Mamat stall and eat teh tarik. Okay, drink teh tarik. We talk to our friends as well. Okay, but what kind of information are we talking about here? We're talking about classified knowledge, intellect that can be put into use. All right, it's about interesting application of understanding and empathy and ethical. This is what our beloved rector is trying to say. Okay, then we are moving it into step 4, transformation of Ummatic mind to Ummatic excellence. Okay? Through wisdom, through hikmah. It is the process where we care, express our concern of the environment, and realization of the society and community. This is our tanggungjawab. This is our responsibility. But how much have we followed? We are still in the linear economy concept. All right. Sorry to say it. All right. I have to say it's like this. Right. We are only taking things, make things, and throw. Our mind is still in that kind of shape. How are you going to be sustainable? How are you going to be sustainable if your mind is still in linear concept? We have to move away, brother and sister. We have to take another paradigm, which is the circular paradigm, which is more higher, sophisticated, and a more rationalized thinking, rather than just pick, drink, and throw. How much waste can you keep? You cannot keep waste. In China, they throw waste in the sea. And in Malaysia, as you know, we imported waste, I don't know from where. We imported waste and try to process this illegally. Cannot. Waste has to be recycled. All right? And we recycle it. We have the 3D. Reduce, resource, reuse product, and recycle raw materials. So we have to adopt this paradigm, which is wisdom. Okay? So as you can see there, this is circular. This slide from respected Prof. Tarifullah. Okay? You can have permission from him. So we are going towards zero waste. Net zero. When you talk about net zero, what are we talking about? This is exactly what I'm trying to say. Zero emission. Zero, everything is zero, not zero mind, of course. We are trying to eliminate the negative externalities. This is the issue we have to say. And again, it's supported by the Al-Quran verses Hud 11:15. Wasbir fil lana lahala yudau ajril muhsinin. Okay? And be patient, for indeed Allah does not allow to be lost the reward for those who do good. In other words, if we are professing, intellecting, arguing something which is better, Allah will support us. This is very clear what the Quran has said. Okay? So we are now reaching towards the end and trying to say that, once it is in the Ummatic mind and we transform it into Ummatic excellence, we can put the SDG in front there. Okay, SDG 7. So this derivative for SDG actually is from Al-Quran and the Hadith. But we learn it from the West. We learn it from UN. Why? We should be professing it is from Ayat Quran. Okay? So SDG 7, affordable clean energy. You just key this one, Ayat Quran verses will come out from here, brother and sister. All right? SDG 8, decent work and economic growth. SDG 12, responsible consumption, not to waste. I asked my students are now doing research on all this. I assigned them to do research on this SDG, but from the Islamic perspective. And you can see there's so many evidence out there, And the one here, reforest action, okay, one of the African states. Yeah? The wildlife, living planet are doing conservation. They are not destroying things. They are uplifting things. The water loop in Netherlands, I can see that, they are recycling water in Kenya, in rainwater investing, they are recycling it. The blue drop, water pollution, water circulation. So we're talking about circulation now. We're talking about conservation, not to destroy, not to deforest. Okay? So this is the point that I'm trying to say here. I'm just boring SDG 7, but basically it is Islam. It is the book from Allah SWT is written here. It's from the Quran and science. Okay? So we talk about solar, don't think about, Trump and all those. Trump, forget about him. But now who is leading a sustainability now? It's China. You go to China, they have a large solar field, that supply electricity. And to add it some more, it is our policy, it's our government policy, National Transition Roadmap, and ETR, launched by our beloved Prime Minister only 2 years ago. But how many really knows about NTR? What is NTR? 20 billion has been put as an agenda for sustainable and green. So why are we still arguing about green? It is a policy. It's a government policy. National trajectory of brighter, cleaner, and more resilient economy Madani. We talk about economy Madani, but we don't know what it's all about. We don't know the basis of it. We're still thinking of circular. We're still thinking of linear. But you said circular. Mampan. Kemampapan. Apa dia masuk kemampapan? Sustainable. Zero waste. Zero emission by 2050. Who really understand this? And look at the limits here. All right. Energy efficiency, improve awareness, renewable energy, changing from coal to from fossil to coal, hydroelectricity. We talk about biogas now. We talk about bioenergy. These are all alternative to fossil, which has resulted in green gases. Are we not aware? We're talking about EV now. Soon, Proton, I think very soon, isn't it? Proton and Pedroa has EV, releasing them. All our students here are using EV bike. We haven't even EV lane in our campus. Okay. So I don't want to, I'm sure how much time I've got, but if I'm going to trendy, going to take a lot of time. But, I will try and make it very fun. But I think this is very obvious, brother and sister. What I'm saying here actually is nothing new. Point here is that we're not putting our mind in the right framework. Okay, this is the problem I'm trying to say. So I hope a bit of my discussion today can throw the light to people to understand what actually sustainable is all about in the context of ayat Quran and hadith. This is our basis, not the, what do you call that, quote to quote, man-made, not man-made. It's from the Quran. So ESG is a framework for SDG. So what you ask me, what's different between ESG and SDG? ESG actually is the action orientation of ESG. All right. SDG is of course the 16 or 17 goals. So when we adopt ESG, by the way, ESG is been adopted in 1958 from the church during the Industrial Revolution, where people take advantage of labor. That's how ESG started actually. 1958 in US, UK, everything. So they come with this framework. Of course, when they think like that, they're not Islam. They're not see in the context of Al Quran. They concede in the context of the West. Okay, perhaps stakeholder understand opportunities, environment, so on and so forth. It is historical movement. Now has transformed into SDG. But the basis is ESG. All right. So ESG has changed how capital allocation decisions are being made by largest services and firms. And ESG fund is running to trillions now. Trillions, not billion, trillions. 70 behind it. Are we not aware as Muslims? What shall we do about ESG? Or we just ignore it, oh, this is not important, this is the West. Are we not responsible after I've quoted so much ayat Quran, so much hadith? And ESG is just an allocation, that's all. If it's social, then it's come under microfinance. SDG 1, no poverty. SDG 2, no hunger. Then you talk about climate, SDG 13. All right, elimination of CO2 green gases. Then we talk about social bond, temperature. So just a matter of fluctuation. In other words, ESG is what we call an impact financing investment. All right, meant for millennials, Gen Z. Maybe not us. Some of us cannot adopt already. But the young ones, they make a study, are all going for sustainable financing, sustainable investment. Okay. All right. So please understand this. And you have to impart this to our students because our students are the millennials. They are the Gen Z. You can't be teaching them, which is conventional and try to equate with sustainability. Does not work. And those are in investment, finance like me, they will understand why we talk about positive and negative screening. Negative, we eliminate. Which is not in use. Positive, we take the one which is good. Impact financing. All right, investment in big energy, solar. In Indonesia, they have what we call green sukuk. I share in that group. Can you look at that particular how green sukuk and wakaf sukuk? We talk about wakaf sukuk now. For what? To address the S, which is the social for the poverty. You're using wakaf. Okay. And this is why I said, you don't want to have a rate here. ESG global asset predicted to be 40 trillion. All right. 70 behind that by 2020. And who quoted that? Bloomberg. And you have big issue here. For example, like, this is 2020. But the American, the US have picked it up. The West have picked up this long ago. We have green bond. Okay. And of course, the equivalent to that in Islam is green sukuk. Malaysia is the first to launch the green sukuk in 2017, right? produce, use, and fund environmentally sustainable. So when you talk about green, it's sustainable. All right. There are other versions of it. Ethical finance, the same thing. Green finance, the same thing. Okay. But basically, the idea that it's sustainable. April 2021, okay, government in Malaysia inaugural launch 4.5 billion domestic sustainability MGI book, and so on. So overall, this is from Indonesia. Okay, I'm sure in other countries as well. There are 9 major sectors. One, we talk about renewable energy. All right. Then we talk about sustainable tourism. I'm in halal now. I should promoting this green tourism. Okay, whereby when you talk about tourism, mostly friendly tourism, we are serving the client with halal food. We provide prayer mat in the hotel. Sustainable transport. Good example is in Kuching. Kuching, they have a hydrogen bus, and I think we are following that. So Semenanjung is following Kuching, Sarawak. Good state to show sustainability. All right. Natural resources. We talk about resilience. Sustainable agriculture. This is what I'm involved. I'm doing research on food security, halal food security. We talk about smart farming. We talk about using drone. All the sustainable things come here. Energy, renewal of energy using solar, green building, waste management. Right. So these figures you can get, you just plug in the Google, you'll get. But the point here is that this green thing is something which is growing, and we have to be very conscious, and we have to be very supportive of it. All right? Not something that we just can, oh, green, well, green, why not blue? Actually, there's blue, There's also blue, what called blue is more for the ocean, for those taking care of the fish and all those. There's also a blue economy for information. I don't know if there'll be a red one or not. Okay, right? So the last few of my slide is, of course, when we talk about the economic cycle, when you talk about ESG, then of course, as far as the Muslim is concerned, we talk about the economic zakat, sadaqah. These are our products. These are the ones we're supposed to promote. Okay, not insurance, but takaful, use of wakaf. I mentioned about green wakaf just now. So sustainability in Islamic perspective takes somewhat a different look. But at the end of the day, it's still the same product that we're trying to promote. Environmental friendly products. Okay. Mizan, Ar-Rahman 50-7. Okay. Allah has maintained that we should keep Mizan. All right, to have a balance. And of course, the sociability is our responsibility for vice currency, so on and so forth. Okay. So maybe this is my last 2 slide, and this point here is very interesting. Show that whatever we said about ayat Quran, all right, Al-Baqarah 2, Al-Maidah 5, Al-Maidah, all this reflects sustainability. By right, this ayat Quran should come first. Then only you follow the SDG. But it's our mind is actually the other way around. We thought SDG first, define ayat Quran. No. It's the ayat Quran that come first. Then you have SDG. Understand or not? This is the sequence. And on the same left here, we talk about the maqasid and stuff. We talk about life, we talk about intellect, we talk about lineage, we talk about property and religion. Okay. So this is what we are saying in terms of what I'm trying to say about equivalent of SDG in conventional is the peace, life. Okay, life is peace, and we talk about intellectual is the people. We talk about people, peace. Now we talk about planet. Right, planet is the lineage. I talk about the generations. Okay, taking care of our children, grandchildren, great-great-grandchildren. It's all there. And prosperity. So we're not talking about profit, we're talking about prosperity. What is different with profit and prosperity? It's a world of difference. Prosperity, we talk integration of the stakeholders, right? When you talk about profit, you only think about the shareholders. Worlds of difference there. Okay. So as my summary, of course, we talk about Tawhidic. Our respected director has mentioned Tawhidic as a technology. The bigger framework is of course the Tawhidic paradigm, right? Whereby we have Fikra, we talk have Tasawwuf, then we talk about generation of Ummatic mind, and Fardu Ain. Don't forget this. Fardu Ain, Fardu Kifayah. I always been argue with Prof. Suhaimi. I said, is this Fardu Ain or Fardu Kifayah? I said, it's both. SDG is both Fardu Ain and also Fardu Kifayah. All right. It's not an obligatory to us. It is something that is stated that if you do it, then Allah will say, will cover the obligation of everybody. So we should stress this and have this understanding. All right. As a conclusion, just 3 para. We were trying to say here that integral part, concept of sustainability is an integral part of the Muslim because we cannot detach ayat Quran verses and our we talk about Ramadan Ilamin, our practice. Well, our practice actually is integral, is innate behavior of what we should be professing and also do. All right? You can't. Islam is religion of peace. Okay, it's just a religion of tawhid. It is something that should come through us and profess. This is what we say a true scholar. All right, and not talking about just borrowing here, borrowing there. Say, oh, this is Islamic. No, it has to come up from the sources itself. And I should mention again that it should be balanced. Balance, not the conventional way of balancing, but from the ayat Quran way of balancing. Al-Mizan. Right? And only then it can address human and biodiversity. Only then it can address that. Right? And as the respected Prof. Dr. Osman has said, he mentioned 4 stages. Tawhidic epistemology, which I've already mentioned, the source of knowledge, and it transforms into a Tawhidic mind. Okay. Then after that, it becomes Ummatic mind, which enable the achievement of Ummatic excellence to fulfill realization of sustainability. Okay, that's all I have today. Thank you very much for listening. Inshallah, is there any way that I could be of assistance? I can assist in some question and answer. Be most
Thank you
welcome.
very much, Associate Professor Dr. Zul, for your presentation. Your presentation has been very colorful, informative, thought-provoking, and more importantly, it is very helpful to us in particular, and also to our student audience in general. Of course, in the chat box, we have questions, and let me read some questions so that you can answer, inshallah. Okay, the first question is coming from our famous brother Dr. Suhaimi Muhammad Sarif. He makes this comment: this environmental issue is a common and global phenomena. Why must view from green economy, halal economy, Tawhidic economy? So according to him, environmental issue is a common issue. It is a global phenomena. Why we should see this economic environmental crisis or issue from the halal or Tawhidic perspective? I think so. So, Prof. Zul, can you please kindly answer this
Okay,
question?
thank you, Prof. Respected Prof. Sami. I always have session with him together. In fact, we also teach sustainable. To me, to answer to that is definition. All right. Now, when we said about Islamic economy, due respect, I know professors are here in economics, all right? To what extent have we promoted sustainability apart from this green issue? Even if this green issue come out, I can't see Islamic economies challenging and writing papers and coming with alternatives. Good example, a circular economy. All right. Have we taught our students circular economy or not? I know UNIMAS Sarawak has trained people on circular economy. There are circular economy courses in the West. But is there circular economy taught in UIA? It's definition, bro. It's definition. And when we come with green, we become very hostile. Oh, green, West. What is this? He's trying to do something good. Isn't it? He's trying to do something on E, environment, S, social, and G, governance. I can't call it anything. I can't get blue economy. I can't get red economy. I can't get anything. But as long as I carry the message and I get that trillions of money to fund, I'm not bothered. You see my point? I want to get and help people. There are people out there who is hungry. SDG 2. I must get money to help them. But to what extent has, quote unquote, sorry, I know there are professors here, Islamic economists do it. To what extent? So I hope I answered that question. It's not a question of labeling.
Okay, thank you, Doctor, for your answer. Okay, can we hear from our audience on the screen before I move on to another question? Is there anyone from the screen from different parts of the world? Any question or any comment or any criticism? So please feel free to ask questions. This is a good opportunity because we have Associate Professor Dr. Zul, who is an experienced man in this field. While waiting for your question, let me read another question from the chat box. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. Coming from social science background, in your opinion, how can literary works about resource extraction help us understand the moral and spiritual consequences of environmental harm, especially from a Tawhidic perspective?
Yeah, if I get it correctly, you want to know actually how we could rationalize extraction of resources, am I right? The natural resources. Okay, fine. The Quran, so many I've mentioned just now. And then nobody said that you cannot extract, you cannot cut the trees and whatnot. But the point here is that how you do it, the method you are doing, how you replace is equally important. I mean, if you cut the trees, definitely there must be a plan for you to replant the trees, isn't it? There must be a plan to replenish, recycle in itself. That's why I agree with this word recycling, because it is something that you use the resources over again, and we're not destroying. Number one, you follow ayat Quran. It said not wasteful. You follow that principle, and number two, you are actually making use of the resources which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said, do not waste. So I'm not trying to gain or something like, I'm very, very hostile of deforestation. Why not? Which, of course, I said is not good. You remember an instant there's one flooding case in Kuantan or something like that, right? So what they found out timber, timber in the flood. How come timber enter the flood? Simply because it is illegal logging. It is because of illegal logging that causes the timber to be flooded. Okay, this is the point that we're trying to say here. Oh, I've got the screen, all right. So actually, I don't mind. The time is constrained. I don't know, Prof. Time is to allow me to talk so much, but but definitely, Prof. I enjoy it, Prof. And more question.
Okay. Actually, there is another question which is very interesting to many of our participants today. Again, coming from Dr. Suhaimi, the question is, could you kindly elaborate on how these SDG goals, such as affordable clean energy, decent work, and responsible consumption, can be aligned with the principles of Tawhidic epistemology, the development of an Ummatic mind, and the pursuit of Ummatic excellence. From what I understand, the SDGs aim to promote global prosperity, balance, unity, and peace. How do these aspirations integrate with Tawhidic worldview? Essentially, he wants you to answer how the SDG goals are aligned with the or integrated with the Tawhidic worldview.
That's why in the last two slides I mentioned, remember, I showed the ayat Quran. I even mentioned earlier in the divine, for example, riba, all right? Consumption of halal foods. They are derivative from the ayat Quran itself. And you follow the cycle, which is professed by our rector. You must have the Tawhidic epistemology first, all right? Then only you have Tawhidic mind. Then from the mind, the action comes. So maybe, Prof, somewhere around the line, the interpretation of what we are supposed to do is not correct. All right. This is where the issue is. Because we don't hold to the principle of stewardship. We don't follow Al-Baqarah 230, whereby we are actually supposed to be the Khalifa and be the steward of this world. So this is where, but if you look at, I don't think there's any sort of a missing understanding, whatnot. That's why I said, Prof, with respect, we have to look back our curriculum. All right. We cannot be using the existing Western curriculum and try to profess sustainability. It does not work. Okay. We have to go back during perhaps the time of when the Prophet, when they use one-to-one guru or some kind of mentor-mentee relationship or what. But I think the former rector also has done something also, changing sejahtera, this and that. But to what extent we have done, but of course, respected Prof. Zainal has been doing a good job also, isn't it? Teaching the student. I also teach this, what they call sustainability, and also respected Prof. For Swami has done that. But I don't think there's disalignment at all. Remember the best university from I'm not sure, Egypt or what. The basis madrasah, for example, Prof. Madrasah, the basis is ayat Quran. In Indonesia, they call it Pansentren. They have built a very strong foundation for the students. And this is what we should be doing. How we actualize it, how we look at it, I just hope, since you're also in the Faculty of Education, perhaps can look at how we implement it. And we should implement sustainability not at our age, like me going to retire. So it's not that it's going to like very young age. You should be introduced at the school level, from just pick up in Japan, Prof, why it's so clean. They train the student to wash toilet, Prof. To collect rubbish. And I said, Japan is not even an Islamic country, but if you go to Japan, it's clean, so much cleaner than some of the Muslim countries. So to that extent, I think it's also affected by the culture. So I just hope, a bit of my knowledge imparted can make people realize, especially the teachers in this group. Yeah, Prof. That's how I answer.
Okay. There is another question from the same scholar, which is related to the waste, perhaps waste management. He says, it has been reported that food waste during the month of Ramadan increases significantly, up to 10 times more than on regular days. Despite Ramadan being a month that emphasizes the Tawhidic paradigm and obedience to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. How can this contradiction be understood in light of the Sustainable Development Goals and the principles of the green economy? Additionally, could you explain how this issue might be conceptually linked to the prohibition of riba and the broader ethical and economic dimensions of Islamic teachings?
Yeah, I think of course that is putting the question in some way in some other ways. But first of all, let me give my understanding of riba. Riba is definitely not only interest. Okay, Prof, respected Prof. He's also a scholar in accessibility and all that. Riba actually exploitation. All right. When you do something excessive, it is riba. All right. You take too much increased interest is riba. Anything is riba. But when you talk about during Ramadan and all those when it is thrown, I am truly surprised also, that perhaps when it become people donating food, we don't care about it. No. It has to be managed well. When people give you, let's say, 1,000, okay, I'll give you 1,000 for iftar. Are you saying that you're using that 1,000 to buy food? Come on lah. It's not. If you're only 50 people, you can't be using 1,000. But I saw in video also a lot of this iftar food being closed, been destroyed. It's really pitiful, and I think it's also a sin. Why? During Ramadan, you're supposed to be thrift. You're supposed to practice Ayat Quran more strictly than other. So I mean, this is consciousness, bro. I think something is definitely wrong. I think the attitude is that once I get free money, I can use it, but we are not efficient in using it. It's all relate to circular economy that I said just now. Because everything that you order, you should be accountable for it in its usage. Otherwise, Allah will ask you why you waste. At the time, you cannot answer lah. This is the point. Yeah, any more problem asking? Come on, other question, brother and sister. Raising hands.
Audience from the screen.
Yeah.
Can we have one at least?
Anything you would like to share your opinion?
I think we have Dr. Ahmed Al Muhammadi is preparing to ask a question.
Yes, Prof.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Dr. Ahmed, go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Prof. Number one, for organizing the event. Thank you very much for your presentation. I really benefits a lot from the discussion. The economy that we have, the global economy that we have today, is pattern based on the Bretton Woods system. I want to hear your comment about the current development right now, in which the world is not going to be dominated by the Bretton Woods system anymore because of the BRICS and so on. And then, so I want to hear your comment. To what extent you think, whenever this thing happen, there is a challenge to the dominant system? This is, to what extent it is in line with the Tawhidic epistemology? Do you think by having this, there would be more justice, for example, for humanity?
Yeah, of course, the Bretton, as we're aware, is the ideal one whereby we are pegging our price according to gold. Yeah, respective Prof. Kamil has wrote many. I don't know where he's here today. But of course, when Nixon come, right, they destroy this gold equivalent and use money. And, as a result of that, we have this inflation, we use this, unsensibility, and they start pegging with all things. To me, this is something not very good and not very conducive to maintain what I said, fairness as now, balance. Because when you talk about gold equivalent, you cannot exceed, what the benchmark of gold, which is actually is sustainable. It is something that, you cannot exceed because not money. Money you can price at any amount, interest rate and whatnot. These are human dimension to it. But there are people who are also sensitive, quote unquote, sorry, some of us are also doesn't believe in gold. They say you should also pay with money because money is something that, without money, you're going to die, something like that, So, I mean, there is an equivalent to that, but I think it's more like a scholar issue with reference to very high level understanding of what gold is all about. But it has been argued that, having gold, even you go to central bank, so central bank also doesn't use gold, So it's more like, I think, like a political kind of thing, but if you invest in gold, mashallah, we make money now, You see how stable the currency is. It is, in fact, gold is the reverse of US dollars. The US dollars go up, gold goes down. Okay. go up, yes, to go down. It is an investment tool which is really very sustainable. But when you start tagging it with the economy, that's become an issue. You know, that this is how I respond to that. Now, look, now with Trump coming with all these tariffs, so on and so forth, you know, it is now never end to this, you know. This is people taking advantage of, you know, not talking about Gaza, it's even worse, no? People being shot, it's part of ceasefire, this people just don't follow. To me, it's very pitiful to the Muslim world, truly. That's why we're going to the BRICS, so on and so forth. I think we need to find alternative, bro. Not to, you know, not to follow the West. That's why I said this sustainability become a big issue to me. You know, we need to teach our students, teach our lecturers, teach our children, so on and so forth. Yeah, I hope I answered that, bro.
Thank you very much.
So can we have another question from our participants from the screen? I can see some of our students here.
Yes, ask any question, no problem.
Any question before I read a question from the chat box? Is there any question? Well, if you have no question, let me read another question from the chat box. I appreciate the depth of your discussion, but as someone still learning, I find it a bit challenging to connect the concepts you have mentioned, such as equating green economy with ESG, Islamic finance with halal and tayyiban, and environmental protection with the SDGs. Alongside Professor Emeritus Dr. Usman Bakar's discourse on Tawhidic epistemology, Ummatic mind, and Ummatic excellence. Could you kindly explain how these frameworks are interconnected in a more simplified manner?
Okay, as I said, I'm also a young scholar in this Tawhidic thing. So, but what I'm understanding just now, I really appreciate Prof. Dato Osman sequential. So I quoted it from the start, as I mentioned. What I'm understanding is that the Tawhidic epistemology come from the exposition of knowledge. All right, and we talk about wisdom, we talk about hikmah, we talk about tasawwuf. They are the sources of knowledge. And not only the Quran, it's also from the hadith. I showed a few hadiths as well. And ijma ulama, we talk about ijtihad and so on. So if knowledge is very open and it is Islamic, it's derived from the sources of Sharia, then we should follow that. But if you end up only there, then you end up only become ustad, you know, you just go and teach and preach. But what about the people out there, the issue of inflation, the issue of people, poisoning the water, issue of, cutting down the trees, so on and so forth. Of course, that one must be derived from the Quran, which is actually the Tawhidic epistemology. But how did you reach to that ummatic excellence? Because that is the one that we're trying to solve, the issue of people, being poverty and I think animal being killed and things like that. Then it must have a continuum. The continuum is what Prof. Dato has said, from ummatic, from the epistemology knowledge, you have to filter that knowledge. I mentioned a bit of that slide just now, to good knowledge. All right, the good knowledge is the wisdom. All right, when you say you are a wise person, I think it really means that actually you have something to share. Wisdom, see? Then wisdom can only be obtained from Tawhidic mind. All right, Tawhidic mind filters the knowledge. Although as I said just now, of course, Quranic knowledge is good, but from the Tawhidic mind, then only you transform to Ummatic mind. So that is the flow. What Prof. Dato' Ahmad said is perfect. It's perfect. There's a flow there. And then from that only, we'll filter into the good things. Right, I'm not what I say SDGs something are all good, all right? Those are maybe Western bias, so on and so forth. But you must, what we should do now is write more article, write argument, have more seminar at this, get the ulama to come and comment. We say, is it true from the ayah Quran and the hadith? We derive the source to do the correction, to do the what we call the lay out the foundation for the human to behave, to human to act, so on and so forth. So if it is correct, then we should correctly mention how the epistemology is the correct way to move. All right, from point knowledge, mind, and then transfer to the Ummatic. Can say, okay. Then the question is, can we just do Ummatic excellent without Tawhidic epistemology? Not right. So because the source is must become from the real understanding what Quran Sunnah is all about. That's why we have Islamic banking, Islamic economics, Islamic finance, so on and so forth. But sometimes, somewhere around the line, even Islamic finance, I'm from a financial background, there's not much emphasis on the ESG cultural aspect. They talk about sukuk, green sukuk, yes lah. They talk about some wakaf, yes. But what have Islamic finance done to do more to promote sustainability? That one, so far, I've not seen. That this is something what I'm not in halal. Halal even more. I can do more for the food, so on and so forth. So what I'm trying just to answer here is that you must have the right knowledge, the right discipline to implement. I hope I answered your question. Okay.
Okay, any question now? It is now 3:48. Can we have at least one or two questions from our audience? Kindly use this opportunity to ask some more clarification from our learned presenter who has an experience of more than 30 years teaching in IIUM, particularly in College of Economics and Management Sciences, and now in International Institute of Halal training. So can we hear from anyone?
So you can
Maybe
also email me.
Maybe if Dr. Suhaimi can add a few footnotes, will be very much appreciated. If he's there, I think I can see his photo on the screen.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Most welcome.
Thank
Hey,
you,
bro.
Prof.
We have
My,
Dr. Suhaimi. Welcome, Dr. Suhaimi. We are happy to see you, Doctor.
My lecturer of diploma Islamic studies, you taught us long time ago when I was with Professor Musa Larbani and
Okay.
Professor Azhar Kazmi and Prof. Sama, one of the lecturers.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah.
Now
Good
you
to
asked
see
me to give my opinion. So I also learned from Prof. Zojastri about this green economy, circular economy, environmental economics. We also have this economics of environment. And then now you add with this, in the past, we talk about Tawhidic paradigm, and then Sejahtera during Tan Sri Zulkifli. Now with Prof. Sambaka, we talk about Tawhidic epistemology, and then the Ummatic, mind, and excellent. But because I came from the old school of IIM, in the past, like Prof. Sama mentioned about, we talk about Tawhidic paradigm, that is to obey Allah. And then we talk about, we have to be Ummatic. Our previous leaders of IIM, like Almarhum Professor Kamal, Professor
Yes.
Sidi Baba, talk about we have to be Ummatic. Even Professor Rector Abdul Hamid Sulaiman talk about brothers, we have to be Ummatic. We have to be Ummatic. I think this Ummatic terms already very, deeply rooted in IUM, former student and also lecturers. So in other words, then when we study in the conventional business management, we have the concept called social responsibility. And then we have the corporate social responsibility. We have the concept of, we call the unified economics. So they are not separated, because when we talk about corporate social responsibility, we have to move out from the profit maximization. And because people can see, because of profit, people did a lot of waste. Like we have, people overspend because of the marketing overspend. And we want to get more money, people borrow money. So in other words, this is what I can see lah, because of the desire, wanted to eat more, consume more, and then we borrow money more. And then as a result, the more that you have, waste and waste and waste. Funny thing that I can see during Ramadan, when people in Madrasah Ramadan, for 30 days, this is where our waste increased 10 times. Don't know why. What could be reason? Ramadan is time supposed to reduce waste, but Ramadan is the time to increase waste. And people borrow money. People borrow money to finance this iftar and also subsequently Shawwal. They cannot borrow money from the bank. They borrow money from conventional. Riba is there. That's why the understanding is very important. That's why I remember this understanding require a lot of effort. What we call the da'wah, tarbiyah, okay, and what we call in our term nowadays, a lot of advocacy, a lot of discourse. People don't want to use the word da'wah. Sounds very primitive. Okay, we use whatever term. But again, when Professor talk about green economy, red economy, but to me, it is not just label. For us in the business management, when we say red economy, we meant the stagnant economy. When we talk about blue economy, more potential economy. But the green economy is we want to make the economy more responsible, more ethical. It's not simply people simply put the label. This one I have to correct. Even in the strategy we have like blue ocean strategy. We have red ocean strategy. But again, the West also start to realize profit maximization or bottom line is no longer survival, no longer sustain, because as we go on, our resources reducing, our environment getting warm, and that's why we have at the end SDG 2015 and so forth. But until today, even after post COVID-19, until today, people didn't learn. People didn't learn the MCO. People didn't learn the reset. They say reset, but what I can see, people are getting more intense in the profit. Look at, the new world economy. I do not know. Perhaps what I can see, fall back to our former gurus, they always say tarbiyah, da'wah and tarbiyah, da'wah and tarbiyah. This is the work that I see, Prof. Amin, that we learn from all the, gurus, da'wah, tarbiyah. That everyone must, because da'wah, tarbiyah is fardu for everyone. Wallahu alam.
Thank you, Dr. Sohabi, for your excellent remarks. Inshallah, we should continue to have another program. I think we should invite Dr. Sohabi to talk about it. Please give us a topic and a date. We'll have one more program related to this issue, inshallah.
He's the management expert, bro. You can call him.
So we'll come back to you, inshallah. And there is one question from the chat box raised by Dr. Amna Bahari, who was also a student of economics, and she was one of the first batch graduated in 1987, and she was also in the Department of Usuluddin and Comparative Religion as associate professor, now retired. She is asking this question, Prof, is there any specific action guide or guidebook for us to implement the Tawhidic epistemology, the Tawhidic mind or Ummatic mind and Ummatic excellence in the context of confronting the current issue of tariff?
Yeah, that one actually is a very good question. And also at the point of trying to gather Prof. Times, I'm trying to check what the director has said about this four continuum. Actually, to what I know, they don't have any book or reference yet. Maybe some literature. So I think it's good for us to publish, what you can gather for me, or you can WhatsApp me later. We should publish this concept, this continuum has mentioned by our beloved Prof. Osman Bakar. But to me, it's very, very logical, as Prof. Swami also mentioned just now, we talk about Ummatic. But where is the testimony? Where is the testimony that we really practice Tawhid? No, we just talk about okay, Islam here, but we follow the conventional. I mean, this is very sad, that it's just only Islam by nature only. So sorry, I may be very critical here, but this is true. Look at Japan, right? Non-Islamic country, not only Japan, China also. You see, they are very successful because of their culture. So I think we need to try and find also a way and look at the Islamic, how is it going to implement? Why it seems so difficult, our culture, to do this? Whereas we are the one who are professing this ayat Quran, and something is wrong somewhere. Our understanding, we cannot put it into practice. So it's a good study to this, bro. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Doctor. Actually, this question leads us to think about the need for coming up with a manual or guidebook to understand the four concepts, which is Tawhidic epistemology, Tawhidic mind, Ummatic mind, and Ummatic excellence. I think in the university, our honorable rector has inspired some of the professors to really come up with full of explanations on these terms, concepts, and issues. And inshallah, at one point, maybe 6 months or 1 year from now, we will have a published reference material for our students and scholars to refer to the issues of Tawhidic epistemology, Tawhidic mind, Ummatic mind, and Ummatic excellence. In the Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences also, we are coming up with several projects related to Tawhidic epistemology. Our Dean, Professor Dr. Shukran Abdul Rahman, has appointed 14 editors and co-editors to edit 14 books related to Tawhidic epistemology in the Kulliyah of Islamic Revealed Knowledge and Human Sciences. If these books are really ready for publication, they will eventually help the people and the students and the Ummah to understand the holistic perspective of Tawhidic epistemology, inshallah. Now, it is 4 o'clock. Is there any other question from the floor? Any question from the audience? So, if there is no question, let me conclude our session today by first thanking our learned speaker, Associate Professor Dr. Zul, for his remarkable presentation with colorful slides, which we have already uploaded in the chat box with his permission, because there were some requests from the participants to learn more. Inshallah, it will be very helpful and useful. And also, I thank Dr. Sohaimi and many of my colleagues, including Dr. Amna, and more importantly, Dr. Ahmad Muhammadi from ISTAC and others from various kulliyas and centers. I also thank students and other participants from different parts of the world. I can see some from Indonesia, some from Pakistan, and some from other countries. And I, on behalf of the International Institute for Muslim Unity, of International Islamic University Malaysia for their participation. And I thank you all. Inshallah, the IIMU will continue to organize a series of talks on Muslim unity series, Muslim minority series, and also book review series and many others. Inshallah, we need your full support, full cooperation, and other forms of support, inshallah, to benefit the Ummah. So with this, once again, I thank you all very much for your participation. Wabillahi tawfiq wal hidayah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Perhaps if you are helpful
picture,
to
Prof.
open your camera, we take a photo. My office will take a photo. Can you please open your camera, please? Thank you very much. Sister Aziza and Fatiha, can you please take a photo? Aziza, Fida, please. Okay, done? Okay. We have taken the photo for our record, and it will be uploaded in our website. We have also IIMU fellows. Our IIMU, the institute, has more than 500 fellows who contribute differently to our success in the institute. So we hope to have more cooperation and more support from you all academically, intellectually, so that the Muslim Ummah will benefit. Inshallah, with this, we close our session with the recitation of Surah Al-Asr. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.
آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر